Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an angel therapy practitioner, intuitive astrologer, Reiki master, and empowerment coach. And I'm here today to talk about tomorrow's new moon in Virgo. But before I start, I just want to tell you a little bit about how I look at this. This is whole sign Western tropical astrology. What I'm going to talk about when I talk about being in talk about Aries or Taurus, I'm going to talk about your rising sign. And if you know that, terrific. If not, you can go to any free website on the internet and plug in your date, time, and location of birth, and that will give you information as to what your first house is, and that is your rising sign. Your sun, which is your actual day of birth, may be in a completely different house. And then there's the moon. So you want to look for these three things within your natal chart. I would look at my rising sign first, and then I would check my moon. The moon is represents our emotions, and our emotions is how we manifest. We take our actions based on how we feel and what we believe about ourselves. And then I would look at the sun, because the sun is how we project ourselves out into the universe or out into the world and how people perceive us, the face we wear for others. Please, if you like these videos, hit that little thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you'll be aware of all the new content that's coming out. And there we go. If you would like to book a private reading with me, my information is in the description below. And now let's launch into tomorrow's new moon. Tomorrow's new moon, and the new moon is when the sun and the moon come together, the man and the woman, the moon representing the feminine and the sun representing the man. And it is the phase when the moon is in its darkest. It's beautiful because it allows the stars to really twinkle and shine in the night sky. It's also a time of co-creation with the universe. We know that man and woman come together to create new life. And this is the opportunity that is presented with each new moon every month. Now, a new moon in Virgo has not only influence over the month in which it happens, it has influence over the next 6 months. Because when we get to the full moon in Virgo, we are going to see the culmination of whatever is planted during this particular time. And it's usually a 6-month period, if I'm remembering correctly, between the new moon in Virgo and the full moon in Virgo. We will have a full moon later this month in Pisces, but that's going to have a different vibration to it. So I'm going to start at Aries, and I'm going to work my way towards Pisces, and I'm going to be focusing in on the house with which this moon is going to affect you. And again, I want to encourage you to look at your rising sign, your moon, your sun, and if for some reason you have 3 or 4 planets in one sign or house, especially if it's Virgo, look at that as well, because that's a very strong focus on this life path. So with with Aries, this Virgo new moon is happening in your 6th house. And the 6th house in general represents our employment, both as an employer and an employee. It represents our health and represents our pets. It is, in many ways, it works, it's also ruled by Mercury, which is a thinking planet. So this is a house of practicality, of thoughts and analysis, and of assessing a situation from a very earthly point of view. Having a new moon in Virgo for Aries is going to be focused, I believe, on your employment or your employees. And more importantly, I think about your health this month. We have had a lot of focus in on our health, and I think this is an opportunity to start to implement and plant the seeds of a new awareness as to your health. And I want to offer it in this respect for Aries. Aries is a very action-oriented sign, wants to move, get things done, and it can create stress, especially if you work in an environment where you're working with others in a team capacity and you have to sort of do your part and then wait for others to do theirs. You're going to find yourself potentially in a sense of stress as we move later into the month. There is going to be some astrological dynamics that are taking place that are going to be very influential in October. Some of the outer planets are going to start to station, which is where they slow down and appear to stop in the sky, stand straight up before they change direction. So for Aries, this month, paying attention to how you're fueling your body, how you're feeding your body. There is an aspect called a trine, which is a harmonious aspect between Uranus in Taurus and this new moon in Virgo. And so Taurus rules food. So paying attention to if you're stress eating or if you're eating food that's convenient, it may actually be working to the negative versus the positive for you. So be mindful of that as you walk through the next few weeks. I think it'll help support a bigger picture of what you want to create within your health and how you're supporting your work environment, meaning your attitude. Because if you're feeling better, if your health feels good, you're going to feel better even under stressful circumstances. For my Tauruses, Virgo is actually your 5th house. So this new moon is going to be happening in your house of creativity, entertainment. And I say creativity because it's about how we personally express ourselves out into the world. The 5th house naturally rules actors, entertainment, hobbies, fun, joy. It is naturally the sign of Leo. So having Taurus rising, having that be your 5th house, there's going to be an opportunity for you to plant the seeds in a practical way of how you want to enjoy life, how you are starting to take maybe the darker sides of Virgo, which are the perfectionist, the person who feels a sense of having to get it right for others. Maybe that will soften a bit as you start to see the opportunities that flaws actually give us a chance to know how resourceful we are, to illuminate where we're standing in an energetic belief dynamic. So this month, having the new moon tomorrow in your 5th house is going to give you an opportunity to start to plant the seeds for potentially implementing work or service in a way that you enjoy more, in a way that you find more entertaining and lighter. Okay, so let's go on to our Geminis. This new moon in Virgo happens in your 4th house of home. The 4th house naturally rules how we nurture, not just others, but how we nurture ourselves. And the idea of Virgo naturally is of service to others. But if we realize that being of service to ourselves, Virgo is going to rule your health, it's going to rule your employment, it's going to rule what you feel obligated and a slave to in some ways. In ancient times, the 6th house of Virgo ruled slavery, and now we are slaves to our jobs. And Virgo is naturally ruled by Mercury, which rules our everyday lives. So this is going to give you an opportunity to look into your home environment. If you are taking enough time to really enjoy the things that your home environment has to offer you, and start to implement new structures within the home. And I would very much encourage the idea of maybe implementing foods that serve your body, or creating new habits for your family that are focused in on eating things that serve your body versus just feeding your body. For our Cancers, Virgo is your third house of everyday activities. It's of communications. The third house naturally rules your siblings, your teammates, your workmates. So having this new moon in Virgo, which rules work, employment, health, and pets. Right now, my pet is acting up over here in the corner, so I apologize if you hear him do that. For my Cancers, this is an opportunity to look at how you're communicating, what you're speaking of, what you're reading, how much you're saturating yourself in the media, and if indeed this is serving your health or your feelings of serenity within your everyday life. Cancer rules the home by nature. And so this is really kind of a commingling of your home and your work environment. And are you, it's going to give you an opportunity to plant the seeds for more balance. And I really want to focus on the balance of your body. Just 1 degree of change. I said earlier to some people that if you're a 2 cup of coffee drinker a day, maybe you decide to go down to 1 cup of coffee. And in doing so, you're starting to give your body more balance, because starting your day with just a caffeine buzz is not good for the long term of the day, which then goes and affects how you operate within your everyday activities and your attitude. So Cancer, I would encourage you to look in that direction as you move or set an intention for this new moon. And one of the reasons why I'm sort of focusing in on the health idea is because this new moon is making a harmonious aspect to Uranus in Taurus, which rules food. So there we go. All right, for our Leos, this Virgo new moon is going to be in your 2nd house. And interestingly enough for you, I'm going to focus more on the idea of money and how you make your money and your employment for Leo. And are you planting the seeds for you to enjoy your work environment in a more practical way? The 2nd house, Taurus, naturally rules our money. It also rules food, but because Virgo's in your 2nd house, I'm thinking that this is an opportunity for you to really look at putting into your mind, into your thought process, and analyzing if your skills and if your work environment is serving the long term of what you want. And if indeed you've been wanting to make a change, then this is a new moon, gives you an opportunity to plant the seeds of faith with the universe and start to describe to them how it feels when you're living the life that serves your happiness, serves your joy, serves your pleasure, because that's what Leo rules. All right, let's go on to Virgo. Virgo, this new moon is in your 1st house of self. The self, how when we talk about the rising sign, the 1st house, it's how you come into the world. It's where you first learn all about who and what you are. It's akin to the Fool in the tarot deck. So this new moon, from my perception, gives you an opportunity to perceive yourself in a way that, rather than having to be perfect, or rather than being overly critical of yourself as you step out into the world and take your actions, looking for how, when we are flawed, when we make mistakes, it actually gives us an opportunity to see how resourceful we are, how easily we can pivot and change lanes and adjust. So With Virgo liking to go sort of down a practical path, being able to see where they want to go, appreciating dependability, which is also in harmonious relationship to the Taurus, Uranus, Taurus energy, because Taurus likes dependability. But Uranus is asking you to be flexible within the unexpected. So as Virgo, you plant the seeds of how do you want to view yourself? And are you able to view yourself in such a way that when there are flaws or when there are disruptions, you can be proud of how you're able to pivot, or how you're able to adjust, or how you're able to see the wisdom through a disruption. So let's go on to our Libras. Libra, Virgo is your 12th house. So this new moon is going to happen in the house of, in some ways, isolation. It rules the house of troubles created by the self. It rules what is behind Libra, what you can't see readily because it's not in front of you. It rules sleep. It rules hospitals. It rules prisons. It rules laboratories and research and retreats and spas and places where we get rest. So for this Virgo new moon being in Libra's 12th house, there is an opportunity for you to plant the seeds. And I want to offer it this way for Libra. I want to go to the health dynamic that Virgo represents, and the idea that that's your 12th house of hospitals. So you can implement in this new moon ways of fueling your body, both through supplements, through what you're eating, what you're drinking, and also what you are absorbing through the outside world and the stimulus that's coming through. And give yourself an opportunity to go into a place of maybe a meditation, or a little bit of giving yourself a little bit of a timeout to really assess, Libra, how this is working for you, how what you've been doing and what you've been focusing in on the way of your health. Is it serving you? Are you paying enough attention to yourself? Or are you putting yourself behind and making others a priority? Because I think when you start to assess that, which Virgo likes to do, you will see that fueling yourself and taking care of yourself feeds a bigger purpose. And sometimes feeding yourself is not just with food, but with time and space away from others. All right, Scorpio, rising. I want to focus again, tell you these, I'm going from the rising sign. Scorpio, this is in your 11th house of networks, friends, hopes, and dreams. This new moon gives you an opportunity to plant the seeds for your hopes and your dreams, and in a way where, rather than being able to see the path ahead, the new moon is the darkest phase of the moon. So you're planting these seeds in an unknowing way where you will be unsure about what is actually going to transpire, but your faith and your hope will support that. And if anybody, I think, is pre-wired to trust the inner knowing, it's Scorpio. Scorpio is the natural detective. It rules the 8th house, which rules the occult, which rules an element of spirituality, an element of having to trust a bigger picture of things than what the human can see. And Virgo itself is an earth sign, which rules the human and the practicality of walking on the earth. So for Scorpio, having this new moon in the house of networks, meaning like social networks, social media, your network, your Rolodex, thank you very much, I just aged myself, but your contacts, the people you know, planting the seeds that you would like to see grow over the next 6 months. As we traverse the end of this year and then go into 2022, I think will be very helpful for you. And I think one of the things that you may focus on as well is shifting the idea of things having to be perfectly in alignment for the group, because it's very difficult to take a group environment and have everyone be happy. So when Virgo takes the perfectionist dynamic off the table and again allows the idea that your own perceptions, your own hopes and desires and wants will find their natural tribe. And your job is to plant the seeds for that right now. And it may be even working your network a bit for opportunities within the work dynamic, new opportunities moving forward. All right, on to Sagittarius. This is going to be your 10th house of career. So this is an opportunity in a practical way to plant the seeds for a bigger picture of your career. Virgo rules employment and employers, and the 10th house naturally rules leadership, government, authority, and the bigger dynamic of the career, meaning how the world views you, how you're seen in the public eye. So this new moon has an opportunity for you to stand in your beliefs as Sagittarius rules the bigger beliefs of things. And I want to offer it this way, because being able to trust the practicality of your own belief system, I think is important for this new moon, because our beliefs act as an insulation or a protective coating from outside influences. So if we take the idea of Virgo representing your employment and this being in your 10th house of visibility in the public eye, your way of being will be protected in some ways as you offer a more authentic to yourself perception. So you will naturally find the people who will respond to your leadership. That's where I'm putting. So really allowing yourself the privilege of reaching for the stars. The 10th house naturally will always rule the highest point in our chart. And Sagittarius naturally rules the 9th house. So they meet at that high point. So allowing yourself to think your dreams are practical, the idea of Sagittarius naturally goes into foreign places, so foreign concepts, foreign beliefs. And when you start to believe that your health, because Virgo rules health, or your career is viable no matter the circumstances outside yourself, and your willingness to be a foreign traveler in the mind, which Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So you're going to be taking thoughts and thinking and analyzing things from a higher or a more broad perspective. And in doing so, you're planting the seeds of belief that then start the ripple effect of your vibration, which will start new things happening, and you'll see them progress over the next 6 months. All right, let's go to Capricorn, where Virgo is your 9th house. This to me kind of, while the 9th house naturally rules Sagittarius and foreign travel and foreign beliefs, I think for my Capricorns, this is an opportunity for you to feel in alignment with this Virgo moon. We've got Capricorn is an earth sign, Virgo is an earth sign. And I really here again, depending on the sign in the house, I'm vacillating between the aspects of health and work. And here for Capricorn, I'm going back to health. What do you believe about your health? And this is an opportunity for you to plant the seeds for your own empowerment by taking your physical body into your own hands and allowing yourself to rewrite the structure. So if I'm to give you a metaphor, there was a time of a certain age when people thought bacon and eggs was a very healthy breakfast. As we have evolved and we have learned more about the body and more about how food reacts in the body, we don't necessarily think bacon and eggs is the greatest breakfast. So I want to offer Capricorn an opportunity to rewrite what they believe about their body, about how they serve their body, and if they are truly implementing balance within their body. Capricorn naturally rules stoic behaviors, working beyond the physical limitations, which in some cases is appropriate, and then it crosses a line where it becomes erosive. So Capricorn, planting these new seeds and new opportunities for you to believe a different story that serves both you and others as you rewrite old structures that have become stale or obsolete and implement new structures, and then stand in a faith, because the new moon requires faith that those structures will serve the purpose that you intended them to. All right, let's go to Aquarius, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. This Virgo new moon is in your 8th house. The 8th house naturally rules death and rebirth. It rules other people's money. It rules insurance, taxes. It rules the occult, astrology, and so does Aquarius. And the neat thing about the Virgo new moon is that it is making a harmonious aspect to your ruling planet Uranus in Taurus. So I believe that there is an opportunity for Virgo to dig deeper, Aquarius to dig deeper into the 8th house, this Virgo new moon energy, and to start to trust the outside of the box thinking that Aquarius naturally purports. I believe that this is an opportunity for great transformation through your own. I almost feel like I want to go to the beat of my own drummer, and that transformation, the natural 8th house, will transform how others perceive me. And I think, again, I'm going to the idea of Virgo representing health and stress, and how stress affects our health. Because the 8th house being so involved in other people's sensitive areas of their lives, it rules inheritances, it rules, you know, and sometimes when someone passes on, there is a challenge as a result of inheritances. The 8th house naturally rules people who would deal with other people's finances, like bankers and things like that. So this is really an opportunity for Aquarius to plant new seeds about how they perceive other people and the resources that come from other people within their own lives. And if indeed those resources are no longer serving you, they're instead making you stressed out and eroding your health. And this is an opportunity to start a new vision of what you want and allow this to be nurtured over the next 6 months until we see the Virgo full moon, when we get further down. I think that's going to happen in 2022. I didn't look up the date. So that's quite significant, I think. Now for my Pisces, this Virgo new moon is happening in your house of partnerships. So I think this is an opportunity to bring new health and new life to your partnerships and your viewpoint of partnerships. If for some reason you have been feeling a little bit critical of your partnership, this has been such a challenging period of time for all of us since, you know, we've experienced the pandemic and being so connected to people. So with Pisces naturally ruling a house that involves isolation, a house that involves reflection alone. And now we're looking at a new moon in the house that refers to cooperation and partnership and collaboration. This gives you an opportunity to really plant the seeds for new health within your partnerships. And if for some reason you have been expecting things to be perfect or to be able to see progress with your eyes, maybe this is an opportunity to feel progress with your heart, to actually close your eyes and allow yourself to float as if you were in the ocean and feel the rhythm of the ebb and flow of life, the wisdom of the new moon being in the dark. It almost seems counterintuitive. It almost feels like, if you thought about it, when we want the new moon to be in the brightness of the full moon. But no, it's the opposite, because the new moon requires an intention and a focus and a faith in what we're endeavoring. And for Pisces, I think this is a faith that is your partnership, even if it feels flawed or it feels challenged right now, there's an opportunity to infuse new health into it as you look at your own perception and your own viewpoint of that partnership. So are you focusing too much on the challenges? And if you can't seem to find the benefit of the challenges right now, can you find neutral? Can you find a way to pull the stress off? Stress is such a huge influence on our lives and on our health, and not just our physical health, but also our relationship health. When we feel stressed, we bring that energy into that commingling of another person's energy. So as you're aware of that, you can set an intention to find the perfection within the disruption, the lack of perfection, the challenges, the opportunities to find resources where initially we didn't see any. So let me be a little bit more clear as I wrap this up for Pisces. Sometimes relationships that go through a challenging time actually thrive, because on the back side of it, we can realize that by perpetrating the behaviors we want people to show us, by actually giving that to our partner rather than waiting for them to give it to us first, we are planting seeds under this new moon with the faith that that perception and activity and behavior will help shift the dynamic. And at the very least, if it doesn't shift the partnership, it will shift Pisces into a place of feeling good about yourself and trusting yourself with any decisions that may have to come up in the future. All right, well, that's it for me for this Virgo new moon, September 6th, 2021. And it is going to be at about 5 o'clock, almost 6 o'clock Pacific time, 1752. And it's going to be at the 14th degree of Virgo, making a positive aspect to Taurus. So this really gives us an opportunity to plant seeds now that will bring roots, deep roots into the material experience. And some of it may happen through unexpected events, perceptions, and perspectives. Okay, so that's me, Teri Hunter. I will be back with another fun video soon. I'm hoping to get another one done, another pick the card reading, but I might wait till next week for that. I don't want to make y'all too crazy. If you'd like to book a reading with me, my information is below in the description. And in the meantime, have a wonderful new moon and find the practicality in the flawed experience of being a human. Peace out, everybody.